Morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Ball Cap Bible Study. I want to thank everybody that watched last week. We had a record number of viewers. We had 350 plus views last week, and that's like three times what we normally get. So, thank you, and keep sharing and forwarding and sending. I hope you enjoy this. We're sticking with the American flag today with the national patriotic theme. Today I'm wearing the Cleveland Brownies hat just because I like it. I think he's a neat looking character, and because that's where Baker Mayfield started, so kind of like following him sometimes. All right, my name's Wade Cruz. I'm the pastor for senior adults at Quail Springs Baptist Church, and we're going to talk about something today that starts with a familiar verse, but sometimes we make the mistake of loitering in one verse. And there's actually stuff that moves into the verse and out of the verse. And so this is a verse everyone's familiar with, but I want to show you what leads up to it. So Jeremiah 29:11, everybody's heard this verse. And like, okay, so how am I going to connect that to, you know, our nation and things like that? So here's the verse. You know it well. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for your prosperity and not for disaster, to give you a hope and a future." Okay, everybody knows that. Now, how do we relate it to the national scene? Well, what leads up to that verse, and like I said, sometimes, you know, you can go to a Christian bookstore, Mardel's, whatever, and you can buy that verse, hang it on your wall, 23rd Psalms, all those things. But what got us to that verse? What's the context of that verse? Why is God saying, about prosperity and things? So let's look at it as we look at this section of Jeremiah 29. We start with verse 4. This is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says to all the exiles whom I have sent into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Now, I'm going to keep reading, and I'll come back to that because there is something there that connects. Okay, build houses and live in them, and plant gardens and eat their produce. Take wives and father sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons and give your daughters to husbands, so that they may give birth to sons and daughters and grow in numbers there and do not decrease. Sounds a lot like be fruitful and multiply, doesn't it? Out of Genesis. Seek the prosperity of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf. For in its prosperity you will have prosperity. For this is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says. So, and there's more between there and 11 more prophetic things. But what I wanted to show here is, you know, there's an old saying, uh, grow where you're planted, bloom where you're planted, where you are. And that's kind of what God is saying here. Now, surely he's talking about Nebuchadnezzar and the exiles to Babylon, but I would say as it applies to us, you know, uh, God's people, his creation, we are all exiled from that original plan, from paradise. You know, we have been kicked out of the garden. So we are all not where God wanted us to be from the jump. So when we when we look at this, when we see that God wants us to grow and to build and prosper and have dominion, that's kind of like that Garden of Eden stuff that he told Adam. Now, verse 7, when I say we're exiles, even, you may be living in a whole nother state than where you were born, where you grew up. You may be not in the career field that you thought you were going to be in, or you may be, outside of some goal or plan that you had. Things may have changed for you. We're all exiles in some sort of way. But listen to what this: seek the prosperity of the city where I have sent you into exile, or maybe seek the prosperity of your, campus or your work job location or your your team, whoever you're with. because in its prosperity, you will have prosperity. Think about that. Um, I just love this. For in its prosperity, in its prosperity will be your prosperity. So, there's an old saying, all boats rise in a high tide. And that's true. And we can't control the tide, but we have to be ready. The boat kind of represents your life. So as as the tide comes in, while it's out, we need to be at work on our boat, making sure that it's seaworthy, plugging the holes and painting it and getting it ready. Because when the tide does come in, when the good stuff does happen, you don't want your boat sitting on the bottom of the ocean. You want it to float and rise and do all that. So pray for the prosperity of, you want a better boss, pray for him. You want a better work location, pray for him. Pray for that entity that you work for. You want a better retirement? Pray for it. You want a better wife or husband? Pray for them. Um, that's, the whole concept. Matter of fact, the flag, the reason I still have the flag up, one is July, but tomorrow, if you're in Oklahoma City or near Quail Springs Baptist Church, tomorrow, Tuesday, the 15th at 11 a.m. here on campus in a room called our parlor, we will have a Pray for Our Nation meeting. We do that every month, and we'll have a retired Marine colonel speaking to us, and then we'll pray around our tables for the nation. You are invited. If you're in Oklahoma City or anywhere close, come and be with us tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and we'll pray for this country. We'll pray for its prosperity. We'll pray for its godly direction. We'll pray for its moral compass. So do that. All right, as we move down now into the very famous verse of 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for prosperity and not for disaster. Can we apply that to a nation? I sure hope so. Can we apply it to our own lives? Yes. To give you a hope and a future. Now, here is the key. So we move into the verse, hit the verse, and then move out of the verse. Uh, Listen to this. Then, then you will call upon my name. Think about that. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. And you will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I will let myself be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and all the places where I have driven you, declares the Lord, and I will bring you back to the place from where I sent you into exile. Now, I think that speaks to Jerusalem of the day, but that speaks to our hearts. That place where we're supposed to be with God, He's going to bring us back. He can bring us back to that. So pray for our nation that He would do that. Pray for your own hearts that He would do that. Pray for wherever it is you work, whoever it is you work for, your families, whatever. I know there's a lot of people that need to be reconciled. So make sure you're in deep prayer about that. Our nation needs to be reconciled back to God. So I want the Pledge of Allegiance to be true, that we are one nation under God. I hope I see you tomorrow. And if not, have a great day and a great week. I hope you enjoyed this Ball Cap Bible study. It was definitely one that I enjoyed doing for you. So we'll see you next week. We'll keep the flag up all month and have a good time. All right. Blessings.